Okay, so good news, everyone. Natal chart readings, right? The way that I mean, this is the way I believe everyone technically does natal chart readings, but my natal chart readings are intuitive natal chart readings. I don't claim to know the significance of every single last number, degree, and position of your chart, but but what I do know of your chart can reveal messages, prophecies, challenges, obstacles, and challenge and obstacles that are to be overcome uh, very easily. And it is my understanding in astrology and in spiritual journeys that you'll always align with workers or light workers or spiritual healers or spirit guides that you are ready to work with. So, because it's my understanding through like my astrological chart reading journey that everyone, they don't, they may not have all of their signs memorized. They may not even have their chart saved on their phone. Um, you know, they may not know what the glyph symbols for the 12 signs or for the planets are, let alone, their North Node and Chiron and other more complex positionings. And even for myself, I mean, I started studying astrology as an adolescent, but it took me probably uh probably until like I was like 19, 20 until I fully understood what the houses were. I knew that they had meanings that correlated with signs, but I didn't understand like why or where it started until I just sat down and focused and read and read one of the many astrology books that I had, which is a big part of the astrological journey. Um, it's a I feel like in astrology it's a system, right? So first you just start reading about yourself, and that's how I was for a very long time. I would say like my first 10 years into astrology. I started reading astrology when I was like 4, 5, 6 years old, at least like my horoscope. You know what I mean? So it would be like Spot the dog, uh, pop out books, Magic School Bus Arthur, Sydney Omar. so that and then and then when I was like 12 years old, I had this like super crazy idea. I was like, "Oh my god, since this book is so accurate about myself, wouldn't it be wild if I read about the other signs, right?" So then I started reading about the other signs, and then you start reading about compatibility, and then you get lost in relationships and conventionality and the rat race and that type of sort of thing, or I guess people call it school and work. Uh, but then like I said, I took a deeper dive at 19 to be like, oh, well, let me learn these houses and let me learn charts and let me learn celebrity signs and what all my friends' signs are. And before they had these apps that collect people's charts, I was writing down my friends' charts in notebooks and all different types of crazy things. so, um, yeah, so I have a deep understanding of astrology. It's part of my spiritual inheritance. It's a long held tradition that's been in my spiritual lifeline and then in my physical hereditary lifeline. Um, and just like as an intuitive can look at your photograph or look at tarot cards or cowrie shells or crab shells or tea leaves or any type of cardomancy or things like that. I can look at your chart and I see certain patterns. I see certain clusters and focuses of energies in certain houses. And when you, especially like on the initial call, as it is an intuitive astrological chat, because I know that for a lot of people, what they really want is someone that they can talk to about astrology. They can talk to someone about astrology who has maybe the same understanding, if not a little bit greater understanding, to help guide them, uh, so that they can just have fun with, the self discovery of understanding their chart. As someone who's been trained, trained in astrology, through, ancient from like ancient times and things like that. I can kind of see like the full. I kind of have like everybody's cliff notes a little bit. I'm like, oh, okay. Like I see how that story's gonna go. I see how this story's gonna go. I see how my story's gonna go. And I mean, it makes life very cool and mystic and neat, like Nito Burrito. But even as like the thumbnail I chose for this video, sometimes a little bit a lack of clarity makes life fun. You don't have to see everything. Sometimes it's a little bit better to be nearsighted because you don't need to see what's so off in the distant future, if that makes sense. Um, that's definitely something that I've been seeing in myself. And it's like the Page of Cups, right? Like I can't really see what's going on around me, but I can see very clearly what's going on in my cup. I literally have a cup in my hand too. Um, but if you don't know what the Page of Cups is, it's like a Pisces energy tarot card. So yeah, so you would message me. I used to use Acuity and some other things in Etsy, but I've had the most success with just people messaging me. Like I give out my phone number like a psychopath, so like let's be friends. um, but yeah, so you would message me, be like, "Yo, Tarot Bay, let's do one of these intuitive natal chart chats." I believe on my Thumbtack, as in no one has used this feature. I do think there is scheduling available there, and I will go back to some type of online scheduling, if not at least calendarly. Eventually, it's just that like I was using Acuity, and they were trying to peer pressure me to build a website, and I was like, I'm very anti websites for some reason. Cause I just feel like oh my god, it's like nobody reads them, but everybody wants you to have them, and I'm not about that. That's like very much what I'm not about. So I feel like when I have a website, it'll be very impactful. Um, but I do think that my dedication to social media shows that I'm very serious about what I'm doing. Because like I guess in the business world, we're moving away from brick and mortar, and websites are the new brick and mortar. But so is social media. Maybe social media isn't brick and mortar. Maybe social media is the new flea market or farmers market. I hate that term, flea market. That's horrible. It's like a horrible term. Why would you even go there? Um, um, what is this about natal charts? Okay, so so yeah, you would book with me, send me your chart. Like I'm not gonna draw out your own. Like I'm not gonna draw out your chart. I'm just gonna look at it and whatever Astro theme, Astro Cafe chart that you have. Hopefully a circle. I can tell things from like the list thing. Like that would say things to me. It's kind of easy for me to look at it that way too, because I do just do it like very. I do it very like hillbilly astrology. You know what I mean? Very nail shop. I just like go through the houses like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I know that the houses are different sides, and you can have different like there's the fluctuating blah 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 and intricacies to astrology that make it so much more complex as you grow and you further your knowledge of all these celestial beings and your purpose. Um, which will grow in the conversations that we have as well. So there's that. But yeah, I just go through it like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I start with your rising sign. So if you have a rising Pisces, I'm like, oh, your self-esteem is directly linked to your psychic connectivity or spirituality, how much alone time you get in your life. Uh, you know, um, you have, I know it sounds like kind of, and I can do this for every planet, and that's pretty much like what I would do as I'm divining the message. But I know it's kind of trite to say, but it's like, oh, you have like, a lot of complex emotions around your connection to your father, rising Pisces. You have, so what's next? You probably mooch off your friends a lot or see your friends as your financial opportunity. One, two, three, and what? Let's see. Fight with your family, at war with your family, or simply the leader of your family with that type of energy. So I just kind of go through it that way. I have a video where I am gonna do like a sample chart reading with a chart that I have with somebody who agreed to allow me to do that. And yeah, and then so by the time, so the thing is, like, I do the reading, and you might be thinking, like, what do I have to benefit from having this intuitive chart reading? So usually by the time, I'm done reading you, saying embarrassing things that you wouldn't say to someone that you just met, but it's okay because I'm like an internet stranger, so like, who cares? Like, trauma dump, why not? so, by the time we get to the fifth house, that's usually like even in my tarot readings, like the fifth house, as my sun and my moon are in my fifth house, maybe a fifth house expert here. I see this as like your biggest opportunity, like your fifth house, your Jupiter positioning. It's like your biggest opportunity for like fame, fortune, successful feelings, Six of Wands, uh, ticket tape parades lie here. Um, So my fifth house, like I said, Sun and Moon in Pisces. I'm born in the year of the monkey. It's like spirituality, being the world's most famous Rafiki, right? But with from the Lion King, Rafiki, monkey healer guy. But I mean, that's Rafiki, that's Sun Wukong, it's Goku, it's Superman, it's Krishna, you know, all those types of things. The Sun Pisces. So it's Jesus. It's I've been saying his name a lot in my videos. And I know some people see that as like a curse word, but maybe I'm intentionally trying to trigger people. I don't know. Maybe that's an obstacle for you. So yeah. So by the time I get to the fifth house, that's like the hurdle that you have to jump, the detour that you have to take in your spiritual journey. And it has been told to me, and as I know in my own life and the people that I've worked with, that is the most helpful kind of positioning. So or the most helpful place to analyze. It's the fifth house. It is the thorn in the lion's paw, and sometimes it takes a mouse to heal them. you know the fifth house, it is actually how the tiger became a part of the Chinese zodiac, from the help of the monkey. So that's why Kimba, the original tale of what the Lion King was plagiarized from, makes a lot more sense, because I think it has more elements of the Jade Emperor's race as well. I don't know that to be true. I haven't seen it. It's just like it's coming to me right now. But anyway, I guess because my logo's a cartoon, so all of these videos are going to be about Disney, I guess, and Pokemon. Um, be careful when setting your intention for your spiritual brand of what messages are going to come to you. If you use a logo that's a floating head and a chibi anime character, all of your messages are probably going to come from like the broken hands of animators whose names I would never learn to pronounce at the credits of Final Fantasy. Um, so be just that's a message for somebody. So anyway, So fifth house, it's like, your biggest obstacle in your self-esteem and your career, kind of like, um, it's almost like bowling. It's like how you clear out all the pens. It's like, hey, this is how we take care of everything. Which is, I also always usually recommend yoga for that. I'm like, oh, problems with your dad, problems with your money, problems with your body, try yoga. It's like, it heals everything. Once you have like some abs, you're like, you know what? I kind of forgive everybody. So maybe that's the thing. It's also like the sacral chakra too. So I have a very heavy fifth house focus in my readings. The sixth house, for other people, more sane people, this is your work, health, and service. So this, especially in things that we've just been experiencing, is most likely a place where people want to look at, like their health and longevity. Seventh house talks about love and relationships. So these places are, do you have Aquarius in your seventh house, where like you're in love with all your friends? Do you have Aries in your seventh house, where you're in love with yourself? Things like that. Eight, we have your wants, wishes, and desires. So the eighth house are usually things that people may not want to admit. And it's actually really funny. I'm having a revelation. Like when I do readings for Scorpios, it's like they don't want to admit the things that I'm saying are true because they're so secretive. Um, so there's that. It's like things that you may not want to admit that are true. Your secret hidden desires that are actually kind of obvious to everyone else. Everyone else. Eight, nine, and nine is like your philosophy. So a lot of this other stuff, and then maybe that's why the fifth house is so prevalent to me, or why it's so paramount, or stands out so much, is that everything else is kind of like confirmation. It's like, okay, your first house, like you really care about this, your money is like that, like your family relationship is this, you feel this way about it. But the fifth house, like your ego, like, like you're really screwed up about this. Like you really want to be making like, clay pots or something, but like someone's challenging your ego your whole life and you had to kind of clear them out. Five, six, seven, eight, nine. Like you work here, you're single, you know, you have inappropriate attractions. Nine, you went to college or you didn't go to college. You immigrated, didn't immigrate. Expat, didn't expat. 10, like your destiny is this. It's going this way. I mean, the 10th house, is what most people or it's what I see is like your destiny, like where you're going, irregardless. So I would even call, even so in this new age where the word irregardless is in the dictionary, I would say that it's actually the house of irregardlessness, of no limitations. So, um, whereas you may be thinking like, oh, me not having a slamming body is a limitation to the fame and fortune and high honor that I'm working towards. But the 10th house is where you're going, whether dead or alive. If you want to be a spiritual leader, like Martin Luther King or Martin Luther or Mahatma Gandhi or the Pope with, better moral standings, blah, blah, blah. Um, or just better reputation on both sides, less haters, I guess. The 10th house talks about where you are going despite anything, despite any mistakes that you make. Um, if you wake up every morning and you're eating cake, or you're losing your looks, you're gaining weight, whatever, whatever, you're going to be in the 10th house either way. If it was meant for you to be a football coach, if it was meant for you to be a news anchor, if it was meant for you to be a army general, any of those things, uh, you know, uh, movie star, actor, uh, landscaper, uh, paleontologist. Because Spirit said to me pterodactyl. I don't know what the hell that's about. Maybe it's like a football team. Um, Pterodactyls. uh, the 10th house, you're going to go there either way. Either way, you're going there. Come hell or high water, like you're going to the 10th house. The 11th house talks about your friends. 12th house talks about stuff you're sad about. So, sorry I spent so much time in the 10th house. Um, but all that other stuff to me is kind of just more confirmation. It's like, hey, like we're resonating, blah, blah, blah. Like this confirmation that you need to work on this fifth house stuff. In the past, with my chart readings, I would kind of do like a typed out thing just because like I know that people need something to look at to remember. But now, as I'm taking it easy on myself and taking it easy on you, that this is supposed to be something fun and like, yes, you can approach it like the hermit and study it until it isn't fun anymore and that it is just simply work, or it can become work that is fun, like spiritual work. Is that you can just take your own notes, do your own research, get your start to form your own interpretation of your chart. And that way, these readings will come out as more just like confirmation that you're correct. And then the thing is, like confirmation is like okay, like confirmation, whatever, who cares? But what we're confirming here is your connection to mystical and psychic ability. So the confirmation that we're having is like, yes, you are a wizard, Harry. Which I think is a little. It's a little better than just like, oh, okay, this vaudevillian has good tricks. It's like, no, we're both psychics in this situation. Even if you don't believe that you are psychic, and you're experiencing like psychic resonance through astrology, tarot readings, whatever it be, the medium phenomenon, uh, you may not be a mind reader, but to have your mind read is still part of the spectrum. So we're all in this together. Okay, so I'm so thankful for you guys listening to me rambling about chart readings. Hopefully that made sense. And this infomercial convinced you to book a reading with me. Booking's super easy. Just like because I'm a believer in intuition, I'm usually like just I'm not into that. You know how like some scheduling things like they put in fake appointments to make you appear to be more busy, and I'm just like, dude, I am not about that. Like, come on, like let's just work together. You don't have to lie to me. I'm not your therapist. I'm not gonna have you sectioned or put you up in a padded room. If you start talking about about aliens and how you believe the Earth is flat, like I won't judge you. Um, that's not my space here. And I think that like everybody, I'm a believer like in the Megazord and the Voltron. Like everybody serves its purpose from their perspective. So like I have to take in things and like perspectives of what everybody is thinking, right? Um, so I really look forward to us doing this and going on this journey together. Um, and that is the message. Bye.